Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Today I'm chatting to Vincent from Canelé, Alain, a pastry business in Richmond making the unique little cakes from Bordeaux, the Canelé. Vincent does a great job describing what these special little treats are in the conversation, so I'll leave that to him. If you've never tried a Canelé, you absolutely must. They are crispy and caramelised on the outside with a molten centre, and they are delicious. You can jump on the Canelé Alain website and order them after you've listened to this conversation. Hi, Vincent.
Hello.
Nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Because we did try and catch up before the lockdown, but
indeed. I don't know. We tried it many times.
We did try many times. Yeah, crazy. So I've read your website, and you've got lots of really great information on there about Canelé, but maybe the listeners don't know so much what a Canelé is. So can you explain what is a Canelé, what then the origins maybe?
Yeah, of course. So actually, Canelé is a very ancient pastry, and it got very humble beginnings. It used to be baked by nuns in a convent in Bordeaux, and it was kind of made with the remaining of ingredients that the winemakers wouldn't want. Like they would use only the egg whites, so they would discard all the yolks. The Canelés were actually baked with the yolks. That's why they are a bit yellow inside. And the nuns would make those pastries with sugar, and they wouldn't have also the same shape as they have now. They would be mostly flat, and they would give those sweets to poor people, basically. And then it kind of evolved in the maybe 50 years ago or so, with like people adding like refined ingredients like rum and vanilla, and it comes from the fact that it's from Bordeaux, because it was like a big international hub, like with all the connections to French colonies, so access to rum and vanilla. So that's how the Canelé evolved, and it's really linked to Bordeaux.
And has the name got anything to do with cannelle, like the?
No, actually, it comes from cannelure, the grooves. So because the shape of the Canelé is kind of thank you.
You're welcome.
The shape of the Canelé is grooved. It's like full of valleys and humps. So it's the Canelé from that fact, the shape of it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Okay. And are you from Bordeaux?
Actually, I was born in Pau, which is like in the southwest of France, and most of my extended family was born in that part of France. And my uncle Alain, he got like 3 pastry shops in Bordeaux itself. So we would come visit him. Like we wouldn't live in Bordeaux itself. Like we lived in a regional town south of Bordeaux, but we used to live in the area.
Yeah. And I was reading the story on your website. I love the little pictures as well of you at a wedding eating all the Canelé. It was really cute.
Yes, it was actually the wedding of my cousin, and apparently I was a very young boy, so I don't really remember. But I just tried one, and I fell kind of in love with the Canelé, and I wouldn't even try all the other pastries that my uncle would have prepared for his son's wedding. I was just like focused on Canelés and eating them all.
Well, I love them, and they there's something about them, isn't there? Because they're sort of chewy, they're sort of textural, but they're soft, and they've got that amazing flavour. What is it about the Canelé? They actually are quite they're a unique.
Yeah, I think
take, aren't
they are unique. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they are also uniquely baked. You know, like you have to bake them in those like copper molds, so it's very kind of crafty. And then you're right, like the texture between like crunchy, chewy outside and sweet, soft and moist inside. It's quite unique indeed. Yes, I agree.
And so your journey with the Canelé from eating them at the wedding, and then your uncle showed you how to make. Is that you asked your uncle to?
Yeah. So actually, after the wedding, when I got first introduced to the Canelé when I was maybe 10 years old, I would ask my uncle, please, can you send cannolis? I had like Canelé cravings like all the time, and so like when I was a teenager, maybe around 15 years old. We moved to the other side of France, near Lyon, which is near the Switzerland. And so I would ask my uncle, can you send us some parcels of cannolis? So he would send like maybe 80 cannolis, you know, via express post, and we would put them in the fridge. But and he would tell he should last maybe a month, but in reality it lasted 2 days, you know. So so it was like a good deal, but not good enough. So I asked my uncle, it's not cutting it. Can you just teach me the recipe? So yeah, he sent me this very simple recipe by post. You know, like it's like just 7 ingredients and maybe 10 steps. You know, it's still like on the fridge on my like the kitchen of my parents. It's a very old piece of paper now, but it's kind of where it all started. And he gave me some molds as well, so I started to experiment. And it was quite hard to get the hang of it because the dough inside sticks to the molds very easily. So you have to grease them with a special brush and a special liquid that is specially designed actually to enhance the caramelization of the cannelé, but at the same time make it easy to remove. And then so I would bake them maybe every fortnight, every month for myself, my family, my friends. And when I moved to Australia, I always had this dream. I want to share this love of cannelé with people. But at the time I was so focused on getting my visa, you know, like be able to stay there. It took me 7 years to become a citizen. So I had it in mind. I had my mold and I would bake cannelés for friends, but I never had time and energy to actually make it a business. And then COVID came and everything stopped, and all my hobbies, I couldn't see my friends, everything was kind of on hold, and it was actually a perfect opportunity to realize my dream, because I became citizen at that time, and then I had nothing else to do but being at home and start something. So I started creating the website, and all the drawings that you can see on my website are actually from my sister's boyfriend. Like, he's very good at drawing. So I put it took shape, and it started very humbly, slowly, still very small, but like it's going into like popularity, and people really like it. So I'm very pleased with it.
And it's getting bigger. You've got a team now.
I'm getting a team. It's very early days, but I have very good feedback, I think it was also a nice way to go through COVID, because I could bring some joy to people, pleasure, you know, like it was a kind of a COVID treat, and people would, you know, order it, I would deliver it. It kept me connected in a way while being like locked in.
Absolutely. And the cannelé, I mean, do you have to be pure about them? You can't add other flavours and things? Is it always the rum and vanilla, or do people, you know, are there variations?
I mean, I'm kind of a purist. Like I want to pay tribute to Alain. So Alain, like, if the people don't know, but he passed away like 2 years ago. So I also created the company in his tribute. So it's called Canelé Alain for that reason. It's because it all comes from him. So he taught me, like, the original recipe was actually part of a Canelé club in Bordeaux, like the Confrérie du Canelé. So it's like maybe a group of 20, chefs, pastry chefs in Bordeaux that are so passionate about canelés that they have this club that kind of hold the perfect Canelé concept, So
So French.
So yeah, so I don't want to stray away from it. I want to keep sharing that original recipe, rum and vanilla, and actually I had to adapt a little. I mean, find local ingredients, So I could find French rum imported here. The vanilla comes from Madagascar, which is usually what's used by French pastry chefs. But then the flour and the sugar, I mean, it's all Australian, right? But I try to make it a local, original version, if I would say. But I'm also innovative, I have the original, traditional recipe, but I'm also listening to the customers' needs. And so, like, the Asian community in Australia is actually quite big. And one of my customers actually asked me, "Can you do other flavors, Vincent?" And I said, "Yeah. What do you want?" And I said, "I'd like to pandan canelé." I didn't even know what pandan was. And so I experimented for a few weeks, like tweaking with the pandan leaves and how to get the right texture and balance of flavors. And then, he was happy with it, and he sells them at his cafe now.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's great. Gosh. Yeah. So where can people buy them?
So they can buy them on my website, canelealain.com, or I'm also partnering with cafes in the city. So there is one called Hikari that just opened in the CBD in Swanson Street, just in front of the library. And then the Asian customer I was talking about is in Glen Waverley. So it's actually one of the objectives now that everything has reopened is to partner up with more cafes. So far I have two solid cafe partners. But I'm confident we're going to have more in the future.
Yeah, and they would be a beautiful thing for weddings as well, wouldn't they?
Oh yes.
Go full circle.
Yeah, actually I'm working on a project where pièce montée. Pièce montée in French it's croque en bouche. It's like a dessert composition with tiered layers, and usually it's made with puffed pastry, but I'd like to make a canelé version of it. So I'm actually working on a nougatine recipe to create the tiers, and then I have 3 sizes of canelés: the big, medium, and small. So I'd like to play with those shapes and to create like kind of a croque en bouche pièce montée canelé version. And cater to weddings. Actually, one of my first clients in Melbourne was for a friend's wedding. She ordered like 200 canelés. Nobody at the wedding knew what it was, but they liked it. And it was like placed on tables and stuff. But I'd like to make it more enticing, but creating a full composition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's plenty. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Vincent Uzo. If you want to experience all the greatness for yourself, which of course you do, you can follow Vincent on Instagram at Canelé Alain, that is CANELEALAIN, and see what Vincent is up to for yourself. As for me, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef, and if you want to read the chat, you can head to www.conversationwithachef.com. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats, and of course you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or click follow on Spotify so I know you're there. Once again, thank you, have a great day, and see you next time.